Welcome to the Deep Dive, the space where your curiosity meets in-depth exploration. You've handed us a really fascinating collection this time, a real treasure trove for anyone wondering how to carve a path into the captivating world of animation.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
We've got this vibrant TikTok capturing a young animator's dedication on One Piece, which is amazing. Then there's a scholarly article from Atlantis Press looking at, animation industry growth and how universities are trying to develop talent.
The academic angle.
Right. And look inside early career opportunities at DreamWorks Animation. Some heartfelt advice from a parent on Reddit trying to navigate their child's animation dreams.
That one was quite relatable, I thought.
Totally. Plus, insightful thoughts on nurturing creativity from the Novak Djokovic Foundation, and inspiring conversation with the acclaimed animator Vivi Marcados.
Her story is something else.
And a showcase of rising stars in animation from Animation Magazine. So, yeah, quite the panorama of perspectives. Our mission today is really to weave these threads together, to understand not just how to get into animation, but how to actually build a meaningful career there.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's start with that spark. That TikTok of the 17-year-old just immersed in the world of One Piece, it really grabs you, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you think about where it all starts.
Yeah, it underscores that passion can ignite at pretty much any age. What are the initial steps someone could take, to nurture that spark and see if it could become a genuine career path?
Well, what's compelling there is seeing that early immersion. You mentioned the TikTok, but also the Reddit thread talks about a 15-year-old who's been animating since they were 11.
Already got a YouTube channel and everything.
Exactly. And this resonates so much with Vivi Marcados' experience. She apparently knew she wanted to make cartoons practically from toddlerhood, like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And was actively drawing, even sold her first piece of art when she was incredibly young, like 7.
That's amazing dedication.
It is. And the piece from the Novak Djokovic Foundation sort of backs this up, emphasizing that intrinsic motivation, the stuff fueled by personal interest and curiosity, is just fundamental.
Right. You can't really manufacture that initial drive, can you?
No, but recognizing and supporting it when you see it early on, that seems crucial.
Absolutely. But, okay, when does more formal training come into play? Because passion is one thing, but skills are another. The Atlantis Press article dives into the significant role universities play in cultivating creative talent for this booming animation industry.
Yeah, and they highlight this ongoing effort, maybe even a struggle sometimes, to align academic teaching with what studios actually need day to day.
What kind of needs are we talking about?
Well, the article stresses practical skills, obviously, but also things like original ideas and, really importantly, the ability to collaborate effectively. Teamwork.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it points out some challenges in university programs, things like practice exercises sometimes being maybe too simplistic or too separate from each other.
Like not integrated.
Exactly. A lack of seamless integration between different practical training areas. And this is where the information on DreamWorks Animation's early career programs becomes so relevant.
Right. The internships and trainee stuff.
Precisely. Their internships and trainee positions are specifically designed to provide that immersive experience in actual productions. They expose newcomers to the real 2D and CG pipelines through direct involvement and, crucially, mentorship from seasoned pros.
So it sounds like that direct, real-world exposure is just invaluable. DreamWorks offers these internships, 3 times a year?
3 times a year. Open to students and recent grads.
And across different departments, too. Animation itself, storyboarding, visual development.
Yeah, a whole range. And then you have their trainee and animator apprentice programs, which sound more intensive, paid opportunities for grads who maybe don't have a ton of professional experience yet.
And the qualities they look for in interns are interesting, too. Curiosity, being hungry to learn, proactive, comfortable with feedback.
It's not just about the software skills, is it?
Not at all. It speaks volumes about the kind of environment they're fostering.
Exactly. And, the Reddit thread kind of echoes this emphasis on just continuous creation. One commenter basically just advises the young animator to make a lot of work.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah. And another highlights getting a solid drawing foundation, maybe even suggesting community college first before jumping into a pricey art school.
That's practical advice.
It is. And Vivi Marcados' journey, again, it illustrates this beautifully. She studied theater and graphics, showing that, a straight path through art school isn't the only way.
Right. She faced setbacks with applications, but kept going.
And her mentor suggesting children's books was this pivotal moment, wasn't it? It just shows how unexpected avenues can open up. You have to be open.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, the Atlantis Press article also brought up something else, the value of competitions.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
They argue these events are actually a good way to benchmark teaching quality, encourage schools to update their programs, foster teamwork.
And ultimately help nurture creative abilities,
Right.
right? It's not just about the prize.
Exactly. It's about testing your skill in a more practical, maybe even pressured context, and learning how to collaborate effectively.
So this raises an interesting point then. How do aspiring animators actually distinguish themselves? How do they showcase these talents?
Well, the Rising Stars of Animation 2023 feature in Animation Magazine gives us some really current examples. These are people already making significant contributions.
Yeah, working on big shows and films, and their backgrounds and journeys are all over the place, really diverse.
But you see those common threads again. Passion, a commitment to always be learning, and strong collaborative skills seem key.
For sure. Like Sher Barron, an animator at DreamWorks, she talks about the amazing team on Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
Great movie.
Fantastic movie. And she mentions the amount of trust they placed in her. That says a lot.
It really does. And it's striking just seeing the range of roles in that Rising Stars piece, directors, art directors, character designers, story artists. It really shows the breadth of careers within animation.
It's not just one job, is it?
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of them mention these specific influences from childhood, things that sparked their interest early on.
Yeah.
Like Kai Akira, a director for Netflix, talks about this huge collection of VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading that. And how cartoons helped during a tough time. It shows how those early passions really do feed into the professional work later.
Definitely. So what about the advice they offer? Any common themes there?
Oh, absolutely. Recurring themes pop up. Humility, a willingness to keep learning, Kai Akira suggests that. Being open to different kinds of roles, which Leanne Dufour, an art director at Disney, found really helpful.
Good point. What else?
Learning to work as a team, Luis Gadea from Warner Bros. Animation really emphasizes that one. And Lauren Sasson, a story artist on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, basically says, draw what you love, what you're passionate about.
That feels like it connects back to the very beginning, that initial spark.
It does. And Vivi Marcados also stressed passion and hard work. You need both.
Right. Now, the Reddit thread also touched on a very practical concern. The money side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually make a decent living?
Yeah, the financial viability question. It's always there with creative fields, isn't it?
It is. And the responses suggested, well, breaking into YouTube animation purely might be tough financially at first.
It takes time to build an audience, monetize effectively.
But working within the studio system, especially, they mentioned, in unionized roles in places like LA or New York,
Can lead to a pretty comfortable, maybe upper middle class income eventually, though it often starts lower with internships and entry-level spots.
and freelancing was mentioned too as a viable option for quite a few people.
So there are different models.
Yeah.
But it highlights the need for, well, persistence and maybe some resilience, adaptability too.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway that seems to run through almost all these sources, isn't it? Persistence.
Definitely. And the Novak Djokovic Foundation piece warns against, letting the pressure to succeed kill the actual enjoyment.
That's so important.
Yeah, emphasizing allowing kids, and by extension, anyone aspiring to pursue passions without that kind of crushing pressure. Vivi Marcados' story, leaving home for her dream, reflecting on a failure where she didn't believe in herself, it really underscores the personal fortitude needed.
It's a demanding field, creatively and personally, it seems.
It can be.
So for you, our listener, kind of pulling this all together, what emerges from this collection of voices and experiences? It seems like a career in animation isn't just one single rigid path.
Not at all. It's more like a landscape of possibilities, really.
Yeah. It often starts with that genuine love, that passion nurtured through just consistent practice and exploring things.
Making stuff, like we said.
Formal education, it could provide a valuable foundation, definitely. But that hands-on, real-world experience through internships, maybe competitions, seems incredibly significant.
Almost essential, you could argue, based on what we're seeing here.
And while the journey, it'll likely have its hurdles, the collective wisdom from people succeeding seems to emphasize constantly learning, working well with others.
And really staying connected to what truly inspires your creativity in the first place. Don't lose that spark.
That was a really illuminating exploration, wasn't it? Looking at the pathways into animation from that initial idea right through to the realities of building a career.
Yeah, covered a lot of ground.
We really hope this has offered you, our listener, a clearer vision of the opportunities and maybe some of the steps involved if you're thinking about pursuing animation aspirations.
And maybe this leads to a final thought for you to ponder. In a world that's increasingly looking for diverse stories, fresh narratives, Kaya Kira mentioned this: what unique stories, what perspectives do you have inside you, just waiting to be brought to life through animation?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Your individual experiences, your passions. That can be the very thing that makes your work stand out.
Absolutely. And speaking of standing out, igniting passions, and connecting with a vibrant community of fellow creators, if this deep dive has sparked your imagination, if it offered valuable insights, we really invite you to join the dynamic universe of the All Sorts podcast over on YouTube.
Yeah, come join the conversation.
Like, share, subscribe, become part of this growing constellation of curious minds, and definitely explore our back catalog, our ever-expanding library of past deep dives. Each one is a unique voyage into some pretty fascinating realms.
Lots of good stuff there.
You can also chart our ongoing explorations, join the discussion across the digital landscape or on X, Instagram, and Threads, all under the All Sword podcast name.
Your support really does fuel our quest for knowledge.
It absolutely does. It helps us keep bringing these in-depth discussions directly to you. So, until our next deep dive,
Keep creating, keep exploring.
and let your unique story unfold.